up? All three of us this time.
Oh
Yo,
yeah, yeah. We posted up. What's up, man?
Yeah, the last time it was just me and you, Antonio, right?
Yeah, we switch off a lot.
Yeah, just getting sick
Last
and
time it
stuff.
was me and you.
You feeling
I'm
better, Dom,
feeling good.
or are you still
yeah,
a
I'm
little
feeling
bit
better.
better? Okay. All right, we're just gonna jump straight into it. So UFC 285 was this past Saturday, and I think we're just gonna jump straight into the main event because that's probably one of the ones we
God
mostly want to talk
damn.
about.
It was
Yeah,
whack.
John Jones made it look way too easy. Wasn't really even a fight. He submitted Cyril Gahn in 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
I don't think Gon landed a single strike. He landed a kick to the nuts. That was it.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I said. The only strike he landed was the kick to the nuts.
That was it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was pretty whack.
Shit. And I mean, what do you even say? Like you just made that. Ah, man, I don't know.
Yep, I mean
Made
John
that shit.
solidifies himself as the GOAT in my opinion now.
I mean, fuck, dude. It's hard to argue after that, man. Like I mean, he made Cyril Gahn look. I mean, that's a world class, literally top five heavyweight in the world right now. He made him look like he had no business even being in there. Like it looked
Number
like a warm up. It looked like a warm up. It didn't even look like
hmm
he.
Yep,
Yeah,
Cyril Gahn, it was the number one heavyweight in the world, and I wanted to see what you guys thought. I saw Chael Sonnen, right? I don't know if you saw this, but I saw Chael Sonnen. He made a video before the fight. It was because John Jones said, "Oh, if I win this, I definitely think it solidifies me as the best of all time." And Chael Sonnen was kind of laughing, saying like, "You're fighting someone who's a kickboxer who has no ground game, and your main weapon is your wrestling, and you're fighting someone with no ground game who's coming off of a loss against someone who wrestled, who isn't even a wrestler but was a better wrestler than him." And basically saying like, if you beat Gon, it doesn't really prove anything. But I mean, I could see that, but in my eyes, it's like Cyril Gon is the number one heavyweight in the world right now. Very dangerous fighter. And not John Jones didn't just move up a weight class. He didn't move up 10 pounds. He moved up a weight class that's 60 pounds heavier. That is absolutely crazy.
he's acting like John Jones didn't out wrestle like Daniel Cormier. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like no matter whether it was at lightweight or light heavyweight, like that on its own speaks fucking volumes about John Jones. So, like for him to come out and say that, it kind of seems disingenuous to me because we've seen John Jones do the things that Chael Sonnen is saying that he's not doing in this fight multiple times, like in the past. And we've seen him do it at a high level, so I don't really think that matters. Everything that he's saying, Chael Sonnen is saying that John Jones didn't do in this fight, he's done before multiple times. So I don't, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that makes any sense to me.
And I agree with
Yeah,
mostly of what Chael Sonnen says normally. I love Chael Sonnen, but with that, I was like, all right, man, that's the main thing. I was like, all right, I definitely don't agree with that.
I think
I
it's
think he's
just
just
I
making
think he was just
content.
hating, to be honest with you.
I think
Maybe.
he's just making content, man. He's just saying controversial shit.
Well, no, because he's actually like on his podcast and everything. He's actually like he talks like serious, like he's real about everything. I
Hmm.
think this was the first time that he was speaking based off of hate. Like it was biased,
Well,
biased.
It very well could be
Against
because
comment.
if my question is, I didn't really watch the video. I just saw the clip. So my question is, if John Jones isn't the GOAT, then who is? Because it can't be
You
Habib.
got me there either.
Habib has without a doubt the most dominant fighter we've ever seen, without a doubt. But his resume isn't good enough to be considered the greatest of all time. It's just nowhere near. If you look at John Jones's resume, even GSP's resume, there's so many Anderson Silva. There's so many other fighters that have way better resumes than Habib that weren't as dominant. And so the only one I could really think you could maybe argue with is GSP or Anderson Silva, but Anderson Silva kind of got exposed by Chael Sonnen, and GSP lost multiple fights against Matt Serra, Matt Hughes, and I think he lost against BJ Penn, but I'm not sure.
Well, he should have lost against what's his name?
Yeah, he should
I
have lost against
forgot. I
Johnny
forgot.
Hendricks.
Yeah, he got killed in that
Yeah, he
fight.
got destroyed by
Ah,
Johnny Hendricks, and they robbed him of the title. So yeah,
yeah,
I think this.
I don't see anyone else that's rightfully the GOAT besides John.
Yeah, I don't
I don't
either.
even think it's a debate, to be honest with you.
I was gonna say, and John has had questionable decisions, but they were like close fights. It wasn't like he was getting his ass whooped, and it was
Well,
a
there was only
clear
one
robbery.
fight, to be honest with you.
Which one?
I
The
mean,
Dominic Reyes?
you could say Gustafson, but I honestly think he beat Gustafson. It was really just the Dominic Reyes fight that I think the only reason why John won is because he's the champion.
Yeah, but
Honestly,
Like I
I
think
feel
Dominic legit won that fight. It was a close fight, and usually when it comes to a tic tac fight like that, they give it to the champion.
mhm.
I think when it comes to, especially in the perspective of like John Jones, when you take like for example the Dominic Reyes fight, which was in the octagon easily probably his worst performance in a fight that he, in a lot of people's eyes, mine including, definitely did lose.
Mhm.
But I don't, in my opinion, especially considering what we saw last night, like that fight against Dominic Reyes doesn't really do too much against John Jones. I don't think there's a whole lot of champions that, let alone never losing a fight in their UFC career. There's a lot of guys that have had bad fights. You know, everybody's subject to a couple bad fights here and there. I don't think it stops John Jones from being the GOAT. And I've been
Yeah.
someone who's been vocal. I think I've been someone who's been very vocal about the whole John Jones things because of, you know, the fights like that. But when you really break it down and look at it, every champion, you know, Muhammad Ali's lost fights, Mike Tyson's lost fights, everybody's lost fights. John Jones had a controversial fight. He's had a couple controversial fights. But man, in totality, it's really even for somebody like me who's been really critical about those fights, after seeing what we all witnessed last night, John Jones, not only after 3 years off, uh, an extended hiatus, but coming back to a new weight class, heavyweight, and dominating the number one heavyweight in the world the way he did. Like I don't even think John Jones broke a sweat in that fight, and it's I don't know. After that, it's really hard to deny. Like even the biggest John Jones haters on planet Earth are just being that. If you're still sitting here after last night denying John Jones the greatest
And
of all time.
you gotta think too, like he was gone for 3 years, bulking to go to heavyweight, and not only is he taking on the best heavyweight at the division right now, his last performance was against Dominic Reyes, and he arguably lost that fight. Like, so the mental toughness of going from arguably losing your last fight against a guy who just got knocked out, I think 5 times in a row. I believe he's probably gonna get cut from the UFC. Thinking about it like that, then taking 3 years off. I mean, granted, he was training the whole time and bulking up to fight a heavyweight, but 3 years off, right after a not a terrible fight, but probably his worst fight he's ever performed in, and then beating the best heavyweight in the UFC right now. Like that's absurd.
Yeah,
That's insane.
I wasn't expecting it to be that easy, especially because if you remember when he fought Ovince St. Preux on his comeback fight, it was a terrible performance, and that was only a year and a half layoff. That was half the time. And now he
Yeah.
comes off of a 3-year layoff and just dominates. Not even close. It was very, very surprising. But he is, I mean, I think he's cemented himself as the greatest of all time with that performance. If it was a shaky performance, I could see why you would argue against it. But to dominate like that,
And it's not even, and to be honest with you, like I watched the fight back like a few times, and if you watch Cyril, the whole fight, granted it's not long, but the whole time he was standing, he was not comfortable the entire fight.
mhm.
Do you
Like
know?
usually in the beginning fights or whatever, he's pretty comfortable. Like he's already figured out his range, and even though he's not throwing a lot, he's already touching him with the jab and whatnot. he was not comfortable that entire time. I don't know if it was nerves or what it was, but John was he's just a different presence, man. I don't know if it's his length or I don't know what it is, but it's
Yeah.
just dominance in every fashion, mentally and physically.
If we really get down to like trying to break down what we saw the other night, like, you know, I don't know if you guys really noticed it, but did you guys notice like in the opening exchanges, John Jones kind of came out in, you know, really doing some really awkward movements. He had a couple spins where he switched stances and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I feel like John Jones knew he wanted the takedown from the beginning, but
Mm-hmm.
he kind of wanted to disrupt Cyril Gane's kind of like he came out from the opening bell with the kick and then the nut. He got kicked in the nuts, but then he kept doing these weird spins and awkward stance switches, and it kind of like it looked like he had planned to do that from the rip. Completely confused Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane had no idea what was going on. There wasn't like a single second in that fight where it looked like Cyril Gane really knew what to do.
Yeah.
He didn't know what strikes to throw. He couldn't, like, from the beginning. John Jones was just completely awkward. First strike, ducks under, gets for the takedown. I mean, it was. I mean, it looked pretty simple, man. It almost looked like a
Clinical.
tutorial. It didn't even look like a fight. It looked like a tutorial on
Mm-hmm.
how to get a fight to the ground and finish it quick. Like, I don't even know.
And that was such a sneaky submission. Like, I didn't even notice that he had him in the choke until he was tapping. I was like, oh, he was choking him. You
Yeah,
couldn't even see it.
it was weird. So he had like an overhook kind of wizard on the other side, and he was snaking it through. He got it really, really deep under the armpit, and then with the left arm, he kind of got that choke, and instead of sinking it into like a full blown guillotine, he kind of had it like with
It
the
looked like
forearm over the
I'm
neck.
not gonna lie. It looked
Pushed
like
that
a
arm into
ten
the arm.
finger. It looked like a 10-finger choke.
Yeah, and he had him like, it was weird. He had him like on the top of his head, but he was like using the fence like as if it was like another arm. Like,
Yeah, like it literally looked like a 10-finger choke. Like my teammate Edgar does it all the time. Like you get the neck, but instead of getting it like a guillotine, your your hands are locked and it's literally on your Adam's apple. And you literally
Yeah,
just press down your body onto it as
mhm,
you're pulling up. It kind of looked like that, but it was deeper into like a guillotine. He really, to be honest with you, he could have choked him out with one arm. Like he didn't even need to lock
mhm.
his hands. He had so much pressure with pushing him up against a cage and locking his head kind of like a darce like on his chest to where he was pressing down with his chest and just yeah, it was slick, man. It was nasty.
Yeah, watching it live, I was like, why did he tap? I don't know why he tapped. And then when they showed it on the replay, I was like, oh, that was tight. You can tell because it's always the most tightest when like their head looks like it's about to pop out any second. That's when it's the
Yeah.
tightest. And that thing was, you could tell it was tight and he tapped quick.
Yeah, that was immediate though. He had it on the Adam's apple. That's immediate.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
yeah,
and
it wasn't really like it's not really like a choke. That's pain, man.
mhm.
That's
And
a
he
different
he
type of
calls
shit.
out Stipe Miocic. So that one should be fun. Because I think Stipe will put up much more of a fight.
Yeah, I think that would be a harder fight for him. But I don't know. John's length, it might cause Stipe some real problems.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Stipe having a huge amount of trouble with John against the cage. Like if John gets him against the cage and just starts, because he has a really good job of locking up the arms and pressuring you once he gets into the cage, and then he starts dropping those elbows and uppercuts and shots to the body, rolls under, drops elbows over the top. Like I could see Stipe having big trouble with John against the cage.
Yeah, we
Because he's
can't
gonna
wait
be
for that one.
anticipating the takedown. He's gonna be anticipating the takedown, so it's gonna be harder for John to get the takedown. He's gonna have to clinch with him a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, and then speaking of submissions, we got another big upset in the women's division.
God damn it.
Gonna be the upset of the year, but I think it's gonna
Bro,
be a
I
similar situation to
fucking
Amanda Nunes. But
I
Alexa
fucking
Grasso,
freaked out, bro.
yeah, yeah, we both freaked out. Alexa Grasso submits Valentina Shevchenko 4 minutes 34 seconds into the fourth round. Wow. The
Yeah.
boxer.
The thing that kind of shocks me about that fight is that it didn't come off to me as for the most part, Valentina she did have an advantage of the striking in terms of like landing more often. But the shocking thing to
Did
me
she
about this
though?
fight,
Did you see the strike count? The strike count, Alexa Grasso was up in every round.
Yeah,
no
Alexa
shit.
Grasso was
No, I
landing,
don't know.
but Valentina.
Except for the round that Valentina took her down and had her in a crucifix for a
Mhm.
little bit. That was the only round that Alexa Grasso was down in strike count. And I
All right. Well, anyways,
thought that Valentina was leading the count too, but it wasn't. That wasn't the case, at least in the strike count.
I think
I was
early in the
surprised by
fight,
that.
well,
early in the fight,
the whole
Alexa
point
Grasso
of
was winning the stand up, but it wasn't until a little bit later, like in that fourth round, maybe in the third, Valentina was starting to land a little bit more volume than Alexa. But early in the fight, it was clear Alexa was landing clean strikes, but she just couldn't stop the takedowns in the beginning.
yeah.
Yep, and then Valentina messes up throwing that spinning back kick. Alexa takes that opportunity to jump on her back, and jeez, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That spinning back kick was kind of sloppy. Number one, and like, yeah, I know they're gonna rematch, and I would bet my money on Valentina to win that rematch. But
Hmm.
Alexa Grasso surprised me. Like that whole fight, I was talking about it right after it happened. That whole fight, there was no part of that fight that Alexa Grasso looked like that she was like that Valentina was too much for her. Grasso fought her the entire fight,
Hmm.
and Valentina's not used to that, except for her last fight. Valentina's not used to that. And so even if they rematch, that's going to be a really good fight because I don't think Valentina would walk all over her because she didn't do it in this fight. Like no part of this fight looked like that Valentina was going to walk all over her. Grasso fought her the whole fight.
Hmm. She definitely
Yeah.
looked more of a worthy contender than I thought she was gonna be. Yeah, and it's funny because leading when Alexa Grasso was walking out, I made the comparison. I said she kind of looks like, for some reason, like just the way that she was walking, her facial expression. I was saying she kind of looks like Juliana Pena when she beat Amanda Nunes. Like she just had that same aura, and then she goes out there and upsets Valentina, and I was like, holy shit, that is crazy.
Mhm.
But I think it's going to be a similar situation. I think in the rematch, Valentina is going to get the better of her. I think it's going to be the
Yeah, I
same
think so
situation.
too. I think so too. But damn, did Grasso look good in that fight?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. I thought if she had any chance, she was going to force Valentina to stay standing up and fight her fight and outstrike her. And it was looking like that in the beginning. And until she somehow got a rear naked choke. So next one, we got the fight of the night. Crazy fight. Jeff Neal gets submitted by Shavkat Rakhmonov. He improves to 17-0 with 9 submissions, 8 knockouts. Keeps his 100% finishing rating. 4 minutes and 17 seconds into the third round. What do you guys think about that one? That one was a crazy one.
It's pretty back and
Rachmanov,
forth, man.
Rachmanov is a beast, man. It's not. I'm not even gonna talk about like the main things that everyone was seeing, bro. It's the I don't know if like MMA guys would peep it. Antonio probably peeped it. Um, every time Rachmanov had him up against a cage, he was not letting Jeff Neal get any type of positioning of underhooks. Like every time he was fighting for an underhook, he would let go of even trying to get a wizard and fight the wrist and push the wrist to his like hip, so he couldn't get an underhook. Like it was, I don't know, that just the little things that I was seeing from Rachmanov, man, he's a monster, bro.
Hmm.
That was a good fight. Competitive. One of the funner night. One of the more exciting fights of the night. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, Rakhmonov definitely proved that he's got a chin because Jeff Neal's got some power. He knocked out Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque's first time being knocked out. And Vicente's been in some wars, taking some hard shots from some real punchers. And Jeff Neal was able to put him out. And Rakhmonov was just walking straight through those punches. He got wobbled, I think, once, but other than that, he was just eating them. Coming forward, wouldn't let him breathe, was throwing multiple knees to the body. Rakhmonov is just a monster, man. I can't wait to see him fight again. I can't wait. I hope
Yeah,
they
that
match him
was
up against like Hamzat Chimaev or someone.
yeah, that would be a crazy fight because I feel like both of them. I mean, granted, I don't know how good Rachmanov is like wrestling wise because he
Hmm.
doesn't really try and take people down. His striking is so good to where he picks them apart, but and then no one can really take him down because his takedown defense is really good. But I just don't know how he would match up with Hansa on the wrestling. But man, did he look good striking like that. I mean, it was a great fight. Jeff Neal really tested him, and he passed with flying colors. This guy's gonna do some big things in the future.
And the fight was looking like it was gonna go to the judges, and he gets a standing rear naked choke. I don't have we seen that before?
No,
I don't.
I don't remember ever seeing that before.
Yeah, there's been like standing guillotines, and I've seen
I
standing
think
submissions, but I don't know if we've seen a standing rear naked choke like that before.
I seen Alexei Olenek do it like one time.
Okay,
I think it was him.
could be. He has like a lot of submissions, so it could be.
And it was kind of weird how he hooked his leg. Did you see that?
Yeah, he had like the leg hooked on one side, and
Yeah, I thought he was gonna like lace it to the far side leg, just so he can drop him, but he didn't need that, I guess.
yeah, man. And I remember on the replay, man, he's squeezing him on that choke, and you could see the blood pouring out of Jeff Neal's nose and the side of his head. It was just that was crazy. All right, and then the last fight we're gonna talk about from UFC 285 is Bo Nickel moves to 4-0. Very impressive performance. I mean, he clearly needs some work in the stand-up department with that kick that he threw.
Yeah.
That was probably a little embarrassing, but he gets the submission 2 minutes 54 seconds into the first round. What do you guys think about Bo Nickel?
Same thing. I think his striking needs a little work. He obviously looked a little sloppy, but he's got a lot of potential. I'm excited to see him. See him in the future. Wrestling's good. Ground and pound's good. I mean, I honestly, that's all you need in terms of a really good base of starting MMA. I think he's got a lot of potential. I can't wait to see him. I mean, I like to see him fights. You know, once you, what wasn't the guy? Didn't they say the guy he fought was like ranked or something?
No.
No, Jamie
No.
Pickett. He was on a, I think like a, he was on a he was like on a 2 or 3 fight losing streak.
Yeah, he's probably cut. Not gonna lie.
Oh no, it wasn't that. I mean, I kind of agreed with. I can't remember if it was Daniel Cormier when he was kind of explaining his situation, but it's like it's hard to go on a pay-per-view, kick off a pay-per-view with like a spectacular, super quick finish, and then go backwards from there. You know, it's going to be kind of hard for the UFC to slow down his kind of momentum and hype. They're going to have to push him a little further. So I'm curious about how he fares against a higher level competition, just because we haven't seen it yet. But I mean, I think he could do well.
Yeah, so I mean, Antonio, I don't know if you've seen any of Bo's fights before this one, but I know Ricardo has. Bo actually doesn't look too terrible. Like last night, he looked pretty bad standing, in the little bit that he was. But in his other fights, his striking doesn't look bad. Like he looks pretty polished as a striker. His striking doesn't. At least his boxing. I don't know about his kicks.
Yeah, his punches look good, but that
Yeah,
kick, yeah, no.
I just don't know. I don't know if he was just the moment got too big for him. Like he was fighting on a John Jones card. He's a big fan of John. He was talking about that this week. Of course, his debut was on a John Jones card, pay-per-view. I don't know. I think just the moment got too big for him, and he was just very nervous. In the beginning, I don't think he'll look like that in his next fight. I think his striking will look way better. At least what I've seen from his other fights.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah, and again, he's only 4-0. Like he only has 4 professional fights,
Mhm.
so he can only get better from here. I mean, he's with the best team in the world, so I feel like he's a good competitor in that division.
Yeah, I'm sure when he got back to the gym, they busting his balls about that head kick because Jamie Pickett could have really just stood still. He was nowhere near even in range for that to throw that head kick. It
Yeah,
was just once I saw that, I was like, why? Like that just looked terrible, man. But hey, first huge debut since Ronda Rousey. First very, very anticipated MMA debut since Ronda Rousey. First, basically, fresh start with no really fights since Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was like the last one where his debut was super anticipated with only, I think Brock Lesnar was only 1-0, 2 coming into the UFC. So hey, it looks promising. Oh wait, is that middleweight?
Yeah,
So,
185.
but it's weird because he doesn't look like a middleweight. He
He does. I thought he was a 170.
Yeah, he looks, and his build, when I was looking at him, he looks like he has like the same build as Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
It's so weird. He looks so small. So I don't know how he'll do later, but luckily he can just use his wrestling because no one's gonna have that type of wrestling pedigree that he's got.
Yeah, I thought he was a 155er. Just
Yeah.
looking at him.
Yeah, I thought he was the biggest. I thought he was 170.
Yeah,
he
when
does look big for that weight.
When I saw Jamie Pickett come out, I was like, holy crap, Jamie Pickett looks huge for Bo Nickel.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, all right, hold on, let me see what weight class he's in, because I was shocked when I saw Jamie Pickett walking out and I saw how big he was. I was like, Bo Nickel is not that big.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess he has. I don't know. Maybe he's big boned or something. Cause
I guess he looks a lot bigger in person.
maybe he might.
Might be filled in.
Another thing that was on earlier Saturday was the influencer boxing, and I got to watch the tag team fight, and oh my god, I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the most funniest, most entertaining things I've ever watched in my entire life. I'm gonna have to show it to you guys. That fight was absolutely hilarious. Like, if you're into actual like fighting, like the technique and everything, all right, don't watch this stuff. Don't watch it. But if you're into like street fight type stuff, just watching two people just swing with no technique, just beating the crap out of each other, this is the stuff you want to watch. These guys, man. Oh my god. So it was, I didn't know how the rules were going to be, but they did go with like WWE style rules. So basically they were going to fight, and then whenever you wanted to tag, you'd basically just go to the corner and tag each other, and then the ref will stop it and then let you guys switch, and then you continue fighting. So what happened was, one team, they brought out the Mexican Luis Pineda. He fought KSI, and he fought another opponent that he won that fight, and he fought literally them three. They went through 3 switches, 3 like they tagged out like 3 times, and he kept fighting them, and so they're gassed. They're like gassed. The end of the round is reaching. Pineda taps out. This dude comes in the ring fresh and starts fucking them up so bad. It was so funny because they're so tired and they start freaking out, run into the corner, and literally they'll be in there for like 10 seconds getting their ass whooped, and then they're already running to go tap out again or tag out. It was the funniest thing. And how it ended was, the guy was like leaning over the ropes backwards trying to tag the other guy, and he's backed up like, no, like I don't want to tag in, and he's just and B Dave is literally just swinging, hitting him in the face, and he's just holding his arm out trying to tag out. It was just so funny. I'll have to show you guys, man. It was hilarious.
I watch that
because you can see the fear in their eyes. You can see them like so desperate to tag out, and he's just getting punched in the face clean because he's not defending himself. He's holding his arm out trying to tag out, and the other guy wants no part of it, and he's just getting his face just bouncing up and down, and the ref had to stop it. That crap was, oh my god,
it was hilarious. I can't wait to see that.
It was funny, man. I was trying to commentate, and I couldn't breathe. Like, I was just laughing too much. I kind of liked it, man. I kind of liked it for their space.
I gotta hear that soundbite.
Yeah, it sounds very entertaining.
Yeah. They need I think they need to do more stuff of that, man. Do more stuff that's gonna be entertaining, and because that's the stuff that I'll pay for. If you're trying to go more serious with it, I'll say I'm not gonna like it because these guys aren't serious fighters. They don't really have technique like that. So they need to go more like in that route and more in like the comical brawl type fights. Because that sign me up for another one. If they put another one of those on the next card, take my money.
Yeah, they need to make people laugh. They ain't gonna excite nobody with no exciting fights or with no technique. That make people laugh. I think
Yep.
it's a good idea.
That's true.
It's very funny. It only lasts 2 rounds, so it's not gonna take much of your time, and I trust me, I think it's worth your time. It's gonna be hilarious. It is absolutely funny. Like if you like just watching two like crackheads on the street just swing punches at each other, this shit is funny. Imagine them getting thrown in the ring with gloves on and just going at it. I want to know who your guys' favorite UFC fighter is right now, and who your favorite boxer is. So I'll let who wants to go first, or you
I'll
want
let
me
you
to
go
go?
down. Or you
Nah,
can go.
I gotta think about it.
All right, I'll go first. I'll go first. All right, so I mean, I'm sure you guys already know who my favorite UFC fighter is. It's Israel Adesanya. He's
I
been
thought it
my
was
favorite.
Cleo Roundtree.
Oh no, I love Cleo Roundtree. I have there's a ton of fighters that I love. I love Cleo Roundtree. I love Max Holloway. And but yeah, Israel Adesanya is my favorite. He's been one of my favorites for a long time, man. Back when right after he fought what's his name? Brad Tavares, I actually did a project on him in one of my classes in college. So, I've been a Adesanya fan for a long time, man. I just love his style of fighting.
Oh yeah, I like his mindset too, like his fucking confidence.
Yeah, and he's almost like a character, man. He's just doing whatever he wants to do. Like he's just having
Yeah,
fun with it, and I
he's an
love.
entertainer at heart.
Yeah, he's a very good entertainer. Even if from the beginning, for his ring walks all the way to the fight. I mean, yeah, some people think he's a boring fighter, but I don't really put the blame on him. I put the blame on his opponents. His opponents are just more cautious because, you look at that Derek Brunson fight, the Brad Tavares fight. You look at those early fights where they weren't cautious and they looked at him like a skinny guy. They didn't respect that power. They got knocked out. So now the guy, like, even look at what's his name, Robert Whitaker. Their first fight, great fight, but he got knocked out. Second fight, boring fight, but it's because Robert Whitaker had to make it a boring fight for his best chance to win. If he wanted to make it a good fight, he would have got knocked out again. So I don't really think it's Izzy's fault that he's in boring fights. I just think that the people he's fighting are much more cautious now because they realize this skinny guy's got some serious knockout power if I'm not careful.
He's so precise with all his strikes. No
Yeah,
wasted moves.
and he's so crafty, man. Just all the weapons that he uses, like I don't know, but yeah, he's without a doubt my favorite fighter in the UFC. Do you
That was
guys
your
want to
best
say
one?
your favorite UFC fighters or MMA fighters? It could be any promotion if it's someone else, or do you want me to say my favorite boxer?
You say your favorite boxer.
What's the boxer? Way out. What's the boxer?
All right, my favorite boxer is right now is Errol Spence. I like Errol Spence because I love Gervonta Tank Davis too, but I like Errol Spence because he's more action packed from the beginning. Gervonta has adopted that Floyd Mayweather style where he slows it down in the beginning. It's not that much action, but Spence in his fights he gets straight to it, man, and he punishes the body. He goes to the body more than anyone I've ever seen in boxing. He just kills guys to the body and he makes for good fights, man. Because he's so like heavy on his body blows, you have to really get inside to hit the body like that. So he gets hit a lot, but it creates for like some firefights. But I just love his style of fighting, man. Being so like body shot heavy in the beginning and then coming upstairs later in the fights and seeing it take a toll on guys and breaking them, and I just love that style of fighting.
Oh, yeah, I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
So yeah, I really like Errol Spence right now.
Nice.
Tonio,
Uh,
Do you have a favorite fighter in the
it's
UFC?
really difficult for me to really pinpoint like a favorite UFC fighter right now. I really like
Or is there anyone that you
um
like you just really enjoy watching that if you were just to see them on a card you instantly get like excited and you want to watch them?
um I like McGregor. I like Michael Chandler. Um, those are probably my two favorite fighters right now.
But that's
I
funny because
like
they're gonna be fighting each other.
I know. I know, man. I don't even know who to root for in that one. But I don't know. I like their mindsets more than anything. I like their confidence. I like the way they go into the fights. I'm the type of guy that believes like, everybody has their own skill sets and shit like that, but I feel like fighting is a big part of it is mental. So
Hmm.
when I think about who are my favorite guys, I think about guys who are really good, are really tough, not just physically but mentally. And I think Connor and Michael Chandler are two really good guys that embody that. And then for me in boxing, I don't know, I really like if we're talking about boxers of today, it's between Lomachenko and Tank Davis for me. I just like all the angles and the fight IQ that Lomachenko's really able to press on to people. He hits angles and he switch stances like nobody we've ever seen. And then Tank Davis, his combination of speed and power is just it's unbelievable. It reminds me a lot of Pretty Boy Floyd before he became Money May. Same
Hmm.
type of killer instinct, same type of a little bit more power than Money May had, but I mean same killer instinct. So those two, it's hard for me to pick one, but him, Lomachenko, and then Michael Chandler, Conor McGregor, those are the guys for me that I really admire. I really like watching.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna go.
he's all right.
Sorry,
Go
no,
ahead,
you
Dom.
go. I'm gonna go boxer first.
Okay.
Antonio stole my boxers.
Oh,
Those are my two favorite as well.
we
Okay.
agree, man.
I
We
like
agree
I
on that for
like I
sure.
like Tank I like Tank more watching Tank because um I don't know, man. He mixes it up real well. He does it all, and he's always having to he's always the smaller fighter, so he always has to get inside and really get nitty gritty. He has to have really good head movement. Um, but Lomachenko too. I love Lomachenko because of his footwork, the way he moves around the ring, the way he um like the what's the generalship,
Ring
like
generalship. Hmm.
in the ring, like he dictates everything that goes on in there, the way he switched stances and everything. Those two are my favorite, um
Yeah,
for sure.
Lomachenko is like a he's like a puzzle. He's like a really really hard puzzle to solve. He he does a lot in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. He's a high tech computer. He's operating on like such high capacities. He could see things that nobody else can see, hit angles nobody else can hit. And I like it. He's the type of guy that he makes it look so easy, but he plays with his food a little bit. So like it's a different type of dominance as it's a different type of thing to watch as into where Tank Davis, he's more of a killer. Like he hunts
yeah,
people
he's
Hmm.
down.
he's in there. Yeah, he
So
ain't doing it.
they're exciting to watch for two completely different reasons. You probably won't catch me and Dominic agreeing on too many things, but I mean, I couldn't agree more with you on
Yeah,
this.
same.
For me,
Hmm.
those are two most exciting fighters for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and I like how Lomachenko like breaks guys too, man. He's made it's so shocking to see how many guys he's made like quit on the stool. Like without even really hurting them or beating them down. He just fucks with their mind and makes them quit on the stool. And I remember in the interview he calls himself No Moschenko cuz the fighters keep saying no mas when they keep asking him to come out to fight. They just get so frustrated with him that they don't want to fight no more. They just call it off.
But I mean, imagine like I don't know, like I couldn't imagine being a boxer and fighting with a guy like Lomachenko because it's just like you've trained your whole life in boxing and like you've studied it so religiously. But you get in there with a guy that makes you feel like you've never boxed a day in your life. Like he hits angles you
Mm-hmm.
don't even know. He hits angles you don't even know existed. Like he's slipping all your punches before you even throw them. Like it's like he almost knows what you do before you even do it. Like he's just so good at reading tendencies, reading shoulders, reading muscle. Fucking he just reads bodies perfectly and reacts to them. Like he's unbelievable. Lomachenko's a freaking beast, dude.
Yeah.
All right, Dom, and in your favorite UFC fighter.
Oh yeah, my favorite UFC fighter. I have a few. There's one that y'all are gonna be like, "What the fuck?" And
Oh,
so I'll just tell you, of course, number one, even though he hasn't fought in a long time, my favorite fighter of all time has always been John Jones.
okay.
So, um, but besides him, because again, I don't know how active he's gonna be. My favorite fighter right now is an up and comer, Adrian Yanez.
Mm-hmm.
He's my favorite. The way he mixed everything up, striking wise. I again, he hasn't been really tested on the ground, so that's something scary that I'm excited to see. But Adrian Yanez is my favorite fighter right now. He has a fight with Rob coming up soon. I don't know exactly when,
With
but
Rob Font.
yeah, he's
Oh, that
fighting
should
Rob
be a
Font.
good one.
That's going to be a banger. Now another fighter that I really like that y'all are gonna be like, what the hell, is Phil Hawes.
Oh, the one that he beat the shit out of DC's.
DC's guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I like him is because he was really just a wrestler, came from a wrestling background. Um, but his striking, the way he's developed, his striking is so good. The way he's like, and I don't want to like say this, and I'm only saying this based off of the way he throws elbows. He's like the closest thing to John Jones on the cage that I've ever seen. Like the way he mixes up his elbows with his striking, especially on the cage, it's I love seeing that. I love seeing that's the one thing that I love watching in fighters is how they use their elbows, mixing it up with striking. Because I feel like in MMA, that's the strongest, besides the knee, of course, to the head. The elbows are the most impactful strike in MMA. Even if you just graze them, you're slicing them. If
Mm-hmm.
you hit them clean, that hurts. Like it's dazing them. Like you don't even have to hit them that hard, and it's gonna hurt just because of what it is. Like the way that's why I like John so much too, especially in his prime at 205. The way he would use his elbows off the cage, spinning elbows. Just every time he's seen an opening, the way he would fight underhooks and then throw elbow like it's elbows off breaks. That's the thing that I look for in an MMA fighter. And even though Adrian Yanez doesn't really use those, I like Phil Hawes because the way he mixes it up and the way he's developed. Like he was a terrible striker the first time he was in the UFC. He was a straight wrestler, and how he developed. And the craziest thing is how he's been able to use all parts of striking, kicks, boxing, mixing in elbows. Not a lot of people use elbows like that. I love to watch him fight.
Yeah, I think elbows are a big part of or especially in the world of MMA, the elbows are a big part of MMA that a whole lot of people don't put a whole like I don't see a whole lot of people focus too much on elbows. And I feel like John Jones has really mastered that part of the game as to where a whole lot of people aren't really focused on elbows. They're more focused on putting together combinations, knees and stuff like that. But I mean, if you could really master the elbow game, you got a big leg up because they're hard to avoid, man. It's a close range. They're they come way quicker for counters because it's I mean it's I agree. I think that's a good analysis.
And I think too, like I see it all the time. And granted, I'm not in the fight, so like of course there's things when you're in the fight that I can't throw this here because then I'll give up a positioning or whatnot. But elbows is the biggest thing against the cage, at least in those scrambles, that you could fight for hand positioning up against the cage and throw a quick elbow and it won't, so you can go right back to the wrist control or fight for an underhook. Like this, throwing an elbow close range like that really doesn't, at least in my opinion, in my analysis of watching the game, it doesn't really impact deeply. It's just a quick little exchange to where I don't think it impacts um your dominance in that position.
Yeah, yeah, you're 100% right because even if you guys are hand fighting and you guys are against the cage, those short elbows are really the only thing that you can use to get around the guard pretty cleanly. Like if you're clinching hands and then you got one clinch on one side, then that elbow can come around the guard or it can come up or down. There's really it's really such a dynamic attack that you can use in different angles from different ranges and stuff like that. But I think John Jones is such a master at it because like you said, once you get against the cage and you're hand fighting and your hands are all locked up, he's a master at getting those elbows around the guard really quick.
Yeah, that's what I look for, at least in fighters. I like the way they use elbows because I feel like that's one of the most pivotal strikes that you can use in a fight.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I do remember Phil Hawes using those elbows against his name is Duran Win, and yeah, he was like, man, he was a bloody mess from those elbows. That was a crazy fight. Ref should have stopped that fight long, long before he
But
stopped
yeah,
it.
he was I mean, he's a warrior, but damn, you're supposed to save a fighter from their pride, you know.
Yeah, man, elbows are the reason why everybody that fights Tony Ferguson comes out looking like their face went through a meat grinder.
Yeah, I remember Tony Ferguson used to
Yeah.
be the boogeyman for real. People used to come out of his fights looking crazy, and
Yeah,
then
dude, straight up pizza face. You come out of a Tony Ferguson fight looking like you just were in a goddamn bare knuckle fight
yeah.
because of goddamn
Yeah.
elbows, man.
Speaking
There's
of
another guy too. There's another guy too that uses elbows real well. He's an up and comer. I just forgot his name. I'm not gonna lie, and I feel bad because I wanted to give him some shine too,
You
because
gotta make time.
he mixes it up real fucking well, and I enjoy watching him fight too. I just forgot his name.
And speaking of bare knuckle, since you mentioned bare knuckle, it just reminded me we got some new UFC fighters in the bare knuckle coming up April 29th. So we got
That's all we got. We got Luke Rocco getting in there, right?
yeah, Luke Rockhold getting in
Yeah, I
there with
seen
Mike
that.
Perry. And then we got Chad Mendez getting in there with Eddie Alvarez.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm down
And
for
then
that.
also they don't say have an opponent, but they also say Ben Rothwell is going to be fighting again.
Oh man,
Boy,
I don't
old.
know, dog. Yeah, he's old. I think
That boy,
Yeah,
he needs to get done
he
with it.
fought in the bare knuckle not too
Eddie
long
Alvarez
ago.
and Chad Mendez are old. That boy's real old.
Yeah, the Ben Rothwell, he fought in the bare knuckle a little bit ago, and he got a knockout pretty quickly. He knocked the dude
Nice.
out pretty quick in the first round. So it'll be interesting to see him fight again in the bare knuckle.
Yeah, man, he might just be heat.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Luke Rocco is gonna fuck up his face in bare knuckle, bro. He ain't gonna have no modeling career after this.
Yeah, I wonder why he really could have gone anywhere. Why go to bare knuckle? He could have gone to the
Well, he
PFL.
could have went to PFL,
Hmm.
Bellator. Anybody would have took him with his big name.
Yeah,
I
why
don't
why
know.
bare
I don't think
knuckle?
this is the move. I don't think this. I mean, maybe they offered him the most money because again, they're trying to get bare knuckle. I mean, bare knuckle is pretty big, but they're still trying to get it like the UFC, like break barriers and shit. And they probably paid him a shit ton of money just to be like one of the faces of it. Like he's a really big name. A lot of legit like UFC like of course people like us who really watch the UFC, we obviously know him. A lot of people know him, so he's a big name.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're a former UFC champion, you can pretty much get paid anywhere else
And
after
it's
the
crazy
UFC.
that
That's how it
people really forget that he won the belt.
goes. People forget that Luke Rockhold
At a
is
point in time was like the best.
legitimately
Yeah,
one of the best middleweights in the world.
yeah.
Well, at some point, he was the best middleweight on planet Earth, and he's probably, I mean, he's probably top 15 all time if we're being honest. Like you're right. People really forget about that, man. People forget quick.
Yeah, and I saw something from Chuck Liddell that really, cause remember you know how we used to make fun of Luke Rockhold's chin, talking about he has a
Yeah.
glass chin, he's easy to get knocked out, but Chuck Liddell, man, he really opened your eyes to what really happens. Because you know Chuck Liddell was notorious for his chin until he got knocked out, and then after that, he just kept getting knocked down. He basically just says that once you get knocked out like that, your brain just doesn't want you to take damage. So you just all of a sudden can't take a shot like that anymore like you used to. So once you take a hit like that, you immediately go out. And then a doctor actually agreed with him and said like the best way to develop a better chin and get your chin back is just to take some time off. And I think Lou Rockhold's last fight really proved that, because he took some serious shots from Paulo Costa and he didn't go down. After taking a nice layoff, he didn't go down. So I think that kind of proved his point there, that you just need to take some time off and let your brain recover.
Shit, tell Cody Garbrandt that, because god damn, he needed to take some time off. Holy shit. I'm not gonna lie, he was when he beat Almeida, he was like my favorite fighter in the UFC. Like I was waiting for him to fight Dominic and TJ. I was so excited. Bro, after he got knocked out by TJ, it was just unraveled from there. I was like, golly.
Yeah, that was so funny. One of my favorite exchanges was between him and Sean O'Malley at that press conference. That was hilarious.
Yeah, they were going at it. That shit was funny.
Love
Cody
Sean O'Malley.
Garbrandt and Sean O'Malley were going at it?
Yeah, at a press conference.
I didn't see that.
At one of the
What'd
press
they
conferences.
say?
It was back when he was fighting Pedro Munoz, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was.
back when Sean O'Malley was fighting Pedro Munoz, they did have a little bit of exchange, but Cody Garbrandt ended up getting knocked out by Kai Kara France, and then
Yeah, 125.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, I want to see that guy get back to a title shot. That dude's a beast.
Cody looked good.
I'm not gonna lie, he looked good, but he didn't.
He's still, you can tell he's still the two punches he took, it looked like they hurt him, which is not good because they weren't hard punches. But he still looks very fast. He looked super fast on Saturday.
Yeah, he looked good. I wasn't impressed, man. Especially after seeing him the way he was going up to the title and then winning the title. His performance, it wasn't really like a performance that makes me happy. I need to see him like counterpunch and really pick someone apart with his footwork and his speed, and he didn't really do that in that fight. See, I got one thing. I got one thing for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
How you feel about Ian Gary?
Ooh, he looked really good. He got dropped. He got his ass dropped in that first round. But other than that, he looked really good. His striking is a lot better. Like, it's like more and more I watch him fight, the more I realize how good his striking really is. His striking is really good.
Is that that guy from, is that that guy from I don't think I got to see his fight the other night.
Yeah, he fought early.
Yeah,
he's the Irish, the Takeover Part 2.
I was gonna say, is that that guy that came from Cage Warriors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is a fucking animal.
Yep, the Takeover Part 2.
Yeah, that combination at the end of the fight when he was feeling himself, that shit was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has good head movement. He has really good head movement too with his combination. He goes in and out nicely. Like, he'll weave he was weaving a hook, and then he'll land like two more, weave another hook, land another, and then back out. It was really nice.
And he's one of the Ricardo, from watching last night too. He's one of the only UFC fighters that I see really mix it up body and head well.
Yeah, he mixes up really well. But he doesn't have that one shot knockout power like Conor does, but he has really crafty, good striking.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how good his ground game is, but you could tell he's really good on the feet.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, he seems more. Conor was more of like a fast starter, knock you out early. Ian Gary seems more like a slow starter. He's gonna study your movement, study his range, and then he'll pick you apart later on in the fight. He seems like more like that type of fighter.
Yeah, he looked good last night.
All
That's
right.
it though. Yeah, I wanted to see what y'all thought about him, because he's obviously the next Irish phenom, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got a bright future. I saw a couple fights of his in the Cage Warriors, and I think he could improve a little bit with the movement, but like I mean everything else looked good. Like the striking, he's super savvy, like you guys said. I think he's got decent power too, decent combinations. He mixes it up well. But yeah, we haven't seen too much of his like grappling ability, so I don't know how far he could go with that. And he's got a couple holes in the striking that he could clean up, but I mean, for the most part, I think he's on his way. I think he's really good.
Yeah, I just think he's a slow starter, man. He got dropped in that first round. I think he's just a little bit of a slow starter, and
Well, he looked good in the first round. He just got caught. The
mhm,
guy just he timed his jab and hit him with a check hook. So,
yep, hit him with a
but
check left hook and right
I,
on
I
the
do
chin
believe
too.
he does start pretty slow.
That was a tough
But
opponent though. That Song Kanan guy, he was a tough opponent. He's not no slouch.
yeah, not a lot of people know him.
Yeah, not a lot of people know him, but he's got some because he fights on the fight nights and he fights on the fight nights during like International Fight Week.
Yeah.
So he fights on those cards that not that many people watch, but he has
I was
some really good
surprised. I was
wins.
surprised. Ian, I was surprised Gary recovered because when that guy hits you clean, you go to
Hmm.
sleep.
Yep. And yeah, he seemed to recover pretty quickly too. As the second he got dropped, he seemed fine. I think it just surprised him. It caught him off guard.
Oh yeah, man.
285. 285 was a good card.
Yeah, that was a really good fucking card. I hope the rest of them are that good.